Give me a second. I'm watching what you're watching now.
My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine.
That is a classic case of shallow water blackout. You guys can Google it if you want to learn more about it.
Did you Google it? What is and how you can prevent it and blah, blah, blah? Or you just open your mouth and spitting words?
That's what freediving training is all about. It's how to overcome and prevent shallow water blackout.
Man, he makes it to the surface and immediately blacks out. And he starts sinking.
Okay, I'll comment. I can't hold back. So
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear him.
when you're freediving for contests, let's say you're in a freediving contest, you have to go down to the depth and come back up and maintain consciousness. So why do you black out? We call it shallow water blackout. As you are, before you go down, you're doing what's called a breathe up to get rid of all of the CO, or as much of the CO2 out of your body as possible, just for this reason. Because when you come back up, what's happening is the partial pressure of oxygen in your body is dropping. It's dropping and dropping and dropping. And when we have a partial pressure of oxygen, typically somewhere in the range of 12.12 or below.
First of all, look at him. He's chilled out, yeah, on that massive chair he have. Closing eyes, talking and talking and talking. And the viewers that they see that say, oh, look at him, like he know what he's talking about and he's experienced. Bullshit. Totally bullshit. Tell me that video, I think you have like 50,000 views right now, yeah? It's only a week uploaded from the guys. Tell me how many of those 50,000 they have swimming pool on their houses and they didn't go straight after the video, straight to the swimming pool and try. Tell me, because I'm guessing, I don't know, if I was me and I was like 20, 19, 18, 25, whatever, when you saw that, I'm gonna jump straight to my swimming pool and try that. Straight. You don't know what you're talking about.
Most people go hypoxic, like if you were in an airplane and the oxygen stopped, you would pass out. That's what happens in shallow water blackout. So you need to do an incredibly good job before you go down of building up as much O2 in your system as possible, getting rid of the CO2 so that when you do come up, the partial pressure of the oxygen in your body doesn't drop below a level that allows you to maintain consciousness. That takes practice on the build-up. It takes understanding the procedures. If you don't, you'll come up to the surface and then all of a sudden you'll immediately pass out like what you just saw. You're hypoxic, basically.
Yep.
I'm not expert. And I'm not free dive instructor or whatever. When I was younger, I used to spearfishing many years ago. And I remember that the CO2, when it drops, it gives you the signal to breathe. So how it's possible to get rid of that CO2? I don't know. I'm not an expert also. I don't pretend to be expert. Let's hear someone who is expert.
Your body is trying to force you to exhale all that CO2, which is why in a breath hold we feel the relief when we exhale and not when we start to inhale or when we start to breathe again. The reason I don't like when this is called the urge to breathe is because we don't actually get this when our bodies need to respirate or they need oxygen. We get this feeling from a high quantity of CO2 when our body wants to exhale. But if we were to hyperventilate, to breathe more, or to breathe heavier, before our breath holds, we would flush out the CO2 from our body, and it would take us a longer period of time for us to build enough CO2 in our body to give us that desire to exhale or the urge to breathe. Now that sounds quite good, doesn't it? The only issue is that the Bohr effect would not be engaged, which I'll explain in a moment, and you would therefore black out significantly earlier. Almost every story I ever heard about blacking out during recreational freediving went like this. I didn't know what happened, I was feeling so good. Of course you were feeling good because you hyperventilated, you didn't get any urge to breathe, and you blacked out early. But I haven't put out videos that would supersede or take the place of a freediving course. This video is a little bit different because I worry that some people after watching this will feel like they don't need to take a course. But watching a very short video on YouTube does not give you all the information and experience that you would get if you were to take a freediving course, and you don't get to work with an instructor. Because, I mean, I'll reply to you guys in the comments, but that's about all I can offer you, right? And working with an instructor is the most important thing. The human body is so different and varied that what you need is individual answers based on your dives, not generic answers from watching a video. So it's actually my hope that these videos inspire you guys to go out there and take a course and to start your journey into freediving properly.
And here is exactly what he said, is what I was afraid.
People don't know this, but shallow water blackout is a huge problem that kills many healthy individuals. When these people die, water enters their lungs, and the coroners say they died due to drowning. The physiology is pretty complex, and it's a combination of blowing off your carbon dioxide, which is the trigger mechanism to breathe, and then using up all your oxygen so that you cannot support consciousness, and so you black out.
If a lifeguard was supervising a pool, I think the only way they'd probably end up detecting it is that they'd realize the person had been underwater too long, because basically then there's just no movement. It's very quiet. There's nothing visually to observe until finally they just start to drift over and sink to the bottom of the pool.
The three criteria for shallow water blackout are breath holding that is competitive, either against the clock, against yourself, or against someone else. It's repetitive. And then finally, over-breathing. Over-breathing, either hyperventilating on your own voluntarily or through strenuous exercise where you're over-breathing.
Anyways, I don't know, guys, I'm like, every time that I'm watching that channel, like in one point, when I saw their face, I start laughing. With no reason, I start laughing.